I spent 2 days debugging an agent that kept filing Jira tickets in the wrong project. The tool call was succeeding. The JSON was valid. The API returned 201, and the tickets were landing in infra instead of ENG every single time. The bug was in the tool description. Specifically, the word project underscore key with no values listed. The model was pattern matching on infra because that word appeared more in the conversation history. This video is about the 5 most common tool schema failure modes and how to fix them. For tools that delete data or send external messages, make consequences explicit in the description and require a confirm parameter. Agents that need to delete records should have to set confirm equals true explicitly, not have it default to true. Add a preview mode for confirm equals false that shows what would happen without executing. Of all the patterns I've found, adding a concrete example to the description has the highest reliability impact per word. In our measurements, calls with examples and descriptions had a 94% first attempt success rate on complex string parameters versus 71% without. Show the exact format, casing, delimiters, required prefixes. One example is worth 3 paragraphs of prose. Failure mode 5, missing units. Timeout : integer seconds, milliseconds, minutes, models guess differently. GPT-4o tends to assume seconds, Claude tends to assume milliseconds for low-level parameters. Fix: encode the unit in the parameter name and the description. Timeout _ seconds with description timeout in seconds, default 30, max 300. Failure mode 4, vague booleans. Include details : boolean is deceptively unclear. What counts as details? The model decides based on how the user phrased the request, producing inconsistent behavior. Fix: replace vague booleans with string enums. Summary versus full is unambiguous, true versus false is not. Failure mode 1, ambiguous enum values. If you don't list the accepted values, the model guesses. It might write hi or HIGH all caps or P1 or urgent. Any of those might break your backend. Fix: always use JSON schema enum to list exact accepted values with the exact casing your backend expects. Failure mode 3, name description mismatch. Send notification with description, sends an email is a mismatch. The model pattern matches on names first. If the name says notification but the description says email, you'll get wrong calls when the agent needs to send a Slack message. Fix: align name and description. If it only sends email, call it send email. Failure mode 2, underspecified IDs. A parameter called project key with description, the Jira project key, tells the model nothing. If it hasn't seen ENG and infra clearly labeled, it will infer from context. Fix: enumerate valid values with a sentence explaining when to use each. If values change dynamically, add a list projects tool and tell the model to call it first. When you have multiple tools, schema design needs to be coordinated across the set. If search contacts returns a contact ID field and get contact details expects a user ID parameter, the agent will use the wrong key. Consistent parameter naming for the same concept across all tools eliminates this class of errors. Version your tool schemas. Monitor tool call success rates by tool name in your OTel traces. If one tool has a 74% first attempt success rate and another has 98%, the low one has a schema problem. Keep descriptions under roughly 200 words. If you need more, the tool does too many things. Full code and a worked example in blog 270. Link in the description. Schema design should be tested before shipping. 5 test categories that catch most bugs: boundary cases for enum parameters, format stress tests with dates in multiple formats, ambiguous task descriptions that could trigger multiple tools, missing required parameters, multi-tool sequences checking parameter name continuity. When your agent calls a tool with wrong parameters, it's usually not a hallucination or a reasoning failure. It's an ambiguous description. The model has 4 signals: the tool name, the tool description, each parameter name, and each parameter description. That's all it gets. If those signals are weak, the decisions are weak.